Hey everybody, you're very welcome into Pro Football Ireland's coverage of Super Bowl 60 here at the, we're not in Radio Row yet. I believe they call it Media Row now, which is interesting. I mean, it's Radio Row. We're in front of the San Francisco Bay Bridge. Michael McQuaid, Mark Hogan, Jason Hayes, obviously presented by our fantastic partners over at SBK. Some great odds coming this week. Check out our socials, primarily on X for this game. Check out the link in the bio. Obviously, folks, 18 plus, please be gamble aware. There is a big, apparently, TBC, a big first touchdown scorer boost coming for Super Bowl 60. Big last game of the year. And props to SBK for just superb support for us, both on and off screen this season. Mark, you're still here. You've survived.
What's still here? I mean, we're very honest on this podcast. We're after changing tops. Michael, you have a serious wardrobe lined up for this week. Banger for banger. I look forward to seeing what you're going to have on Tuesday's podcast.
I have no more.
We have not moved the chairs. We are recording back-to-back Sunday and Monday's podcast, so we are very revealed. Because of absolute necessity, we are doing it. But it is kind of funny that we've gone to the effort of changing tops for the pure sake to announce to you that we've recorded the back-to-back. Let's go.
Jason just oozing aura there. You're looking good. What's the crack?
Hey, you're taking on a risk, Jason. That sun
California sunshine. No, yeah.
The before and after shot at the end of this podcast.
I hadn't really thought of that. Now
when you're a lobster.
It's funny. I actually turned the camera off a minute ago, and like the heat was. I thought, oh no. So we'll get this done quickly, so it's done. We are going to answer your questions during this. Do check out on social media, both on Instagram stories and on X throughout the week. There'll be like a Google form. We love your questions. We really appreciate everybody asking. We'll try and get through as many as we can here time-wise before we get booted off this garden bay.
This fenced-off area that we surely should not be in, but the sprinklers were going off everywhere else. It was the only safe place.
Saying on until the SFPD show up here, but obviously Super Bowl 60, lads, coming up this Sunday. Virgin Media 1, 11 p.m. Seahawks, Patriots, in a repeat of what was an incredible Super Bowl 11 years ago. And Mark, today we're sort of going to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty, the general storylines, if you will, and it's going to be a really interesting week, isn't it?
You can see me doing the point of view shot. Check out the socials this week, of course. Where I'm going to try and do a day in the life because it is kind of mad. Like we said, we're doing the back-to-back. But yeah, kind of to continue on, if you're listening to Sunday's podcast, we kind of hit those early obvious storylines, and there is a few more to get out of the way. Jason, I don't know if there's one that you want to go first on, but there is like obvious stuff that plays a factor this week.
I think a big one coming into this week, and this was actually a storyline before the championship games were even played, but it's the fact that Seattle is a big favourite for this game. And it's happened to be Seattle. If the Rams were here, the Rams would have been the favourite, which you can imagine how the Patriots are handling that kind of narrative, saying that they'll be massive underdogs when the opponent isn't even set. But that's where we are. There is good reason for the lines we're seeing. I'm not sure what the line is now. It's probably going to change throughout the week.
I'll tell you right now.
Yes, please, Mick.
It's going to SBK, I presume.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. Alex, God help him on his day off on Sunday, because obviously we can't access SBK in America. But right now, the line on SBK, Seahawks, the spread is 6 on the handicap.
Wow.
Drake May is over 4.5 to go 220.5 yards passing. And the over at the minute on SBK is 43 points at 4-7. And if you like a little tipple, Stephon Diggs is 13-1 for first touchdown score on Sunday night. Cooper Kupp 15-1, Hunter Henry 33-2. Keyshawn, say Booty in your Cork accent.
Booty.
37-2 of SBK, and Rashid Shaheed. We've seen him do it before. Charlie Smith's mate, by the way, kept telling us last week. Shout out to Charlie. 37-2 for first touchdown.
Yeah, there's no point because those lines are going to change, but the odds are obviously
the odds are pretty good.
Yeah.
So 6 points right now is that's actually more than I thought it was. I thought it was more at the 4.5 range when I last looked.
I think it started at 5.5, so it's gone up to just 6.
Yeah.
So currently 6 at the time of recording. Obviously 18 plus. Please be gamble aware. But Jason, there's no point in going around it. They're big favourites, and like I think.
And there's reason for that. There's reason for that. I mean, they have the NFL's #1 defense in many metrics, and they've only gotten better as the year has gone on. They've got all pro caliber performances at every level of that defense, whether it's Williams, Murphy, Lawrence up front, Ernest Jones in the middle is doing a fantastic job, and then that secondary, pick whoever you want to talk about. Mark was talking about the draft class in the last podcast.
Nick Emanwari, give it to me all day long.
My God. Witherspoon, even the value they've gotten on that side of the ball. Josh Jobe, they're paying him something like $2 million a year, and he's a starting corner, and he's doing a fantastic job. They're so deep across the board on that defense, and that is the primary driver of why they are the favourites that they are. On offence, I think if the offence had kept their trend of the latter half of the season, certainly what Sam Darnold was doing, maybe this game would be viewed a bit closer right now. But it's just how impressive they've looked in the playoff run, I think is the big difference. Final factor then, I think, which explains the lines that we're seeing, is the road each team has had to get here. Seattle has come out of the NFC West, which is, the Wild West. It's the best division in football. So to get to this point, they're battle tested. They've proven it against some of the best teams in the league, and they'll be feeling confident as a result. Whereas I'm sure, I think, Mark, you're going to talk a bit about.
Yeah, I mean, I might jump
Are you
in.
ready to piss off all the Patriots fans, Mark? Go for it.
Well, no, actually, maybe this will ultimately piss them off. One of the major storylines is that strength of schedule. It is so polarizing to see New England get here to the 14-3 based on the schedule that they had, and it doesn't help that the Raiders, the opening game, the one that now it's the first overall pick, they lost to. So I was kind of like, well, let's base it off other strength of schedules then. Did anyone else take advantage? Do you know who had the second easiest schedule this year? The Denver Broncos. Go get the number 1 seed.
So just when it's in my head here, there's an alternate reality where they win that Raiders game. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. They get to the AFC Championship and they can't play it because of that crazy storm last week in North America. So many factors, and obviously that game, the AFC Championship, was transformed in the second half. But there is an alternate reality where New England were playing Buffalo.
Yeah, at home, and they don't do that. But like when you zone in, and there is some stats that have to be pointed out. Easiest schedule since the turn of the century, 8th easiest all time. The easiest schedule,
8th easiest ever.
But the easiest of all time was the 1999 Rams, and they won the Super Bowl. Did you know that before today? Like, it's not like people go on about. So it's like, you're not remember. Like, if you go and win the big game, you go and win the big game.
But the other thing is, like, they had the same.
Yeah, right. they had the same opponents as the Bills would have had, except the Bills obviously had their first ranked within the division versus the fourth. So it's like, except for 3 teams, they had the same schedule as the Bills, and no one was going off about the Bills' schedule being poor. So I think the QBs that they've played, obviously the narrative around there does suck. CJ Stroud was awful. The Denver, the snow game. They still they're still, those teams were not just about the quarterbacks, and quarterbacks are not
done.
They're getting it done. I think there's a paradox there because an easy schedule definitely sets you up, whereas a tough schedule can derail a season. But then look at the NFC West. The NFC West have to beat up on one another, and then we get an all NFC West NFC Championship game with the Rams and the Seahawks. There's a bit of a paradox there, but at the end of the day, they maximize the opportunity. It gives you a higher floor when you're playing that, but you also have to take into account that you have to go and do it. Compare this to last year's team. They went through, like, last year's team sucked so bad in terms of, like, the O-line was so poor. We were saying halfway through the season, do not put Drake May out there. It's going to be a complete waste of time. They've gone after talent. They've had those draft picks. I think that context of last year shows it doesn't just happen. And there's always someone has the easiest schedule in the NFL. It doesn't mean that the easiest schedule always goes to the Super Bowl.
And it sort of goes back to the point that I think you made on Sunday's show about parity. And yes, they had the easiest schedule, but the reality is 32 teams have got the guts of 7 months to improve their team. So they're not going in to say...
But the Patriots, it's not like the Patriots were just getting by these teams. They were dismantling teams. The average victory, I think, was 10 points. Like, it's not like they were going in and, like, having tough games. Like, they were absolutely annihilating the... So when you look at it actually in terms of weighted DVOA, which kind of speaks more about your form, but it speaks about kind of your form, they were absolutely destroying teams in weighted DVOA. And it goes, like, they are a powerhouse, and a powerhouse can have an easy schedule. That's not their fault.
I think, personally, looking at that line, I think it's too big. It's one thing if they're going up against a proven commodity, and I don't want to diminish how impressive the Seahawks are as a team, but it's a second-year head coach. Sam Darnold is in uncharted territory. This isn't exactly a proven commodity. I mean, let them win one Super Bowl before we're talking about them as being such strong favourites. And don't forget, early 2000s, the Patriots entered their first Super Bowl that they won as a big underdog. They upset a lot of people by taking down the Rams that time. I think the Patriots will absolutely love this narrative of coming in as underdogs this week.
So them, isn't it?
Well,
and the other thing is they beat the Buffalo Bills. It's not like they beat the Buffalo Bills this year. If the Buffalo Bills win this game tomorrow,
they silence them.
Yeah.
They silence them. But this goes into my point as well. We can keep going, but it is about the Patriots, and it's just a classic point. Like, you think of the Patriots days of old where they were secretive. It was the deep dark army. It was the devil, right? For some people anyway, not for Patriots fans. I just love how Drake May, and this is a non-story, Drake May hasn't practiced the entire week leading up to coming out here. And we're obviously recording this on the Sunday, and they've come out here on Sunday evening. Drake May has stood and not completed a pass. And the media have had about, I think, 10 to 12 minutes each day. And for each time, he's not completed. Apparently, he has not played or actually done anything in practice all week. They say it's an injury. Get out of here, lads. Get out of here. Like, I seen him, he went on stage on Sunday at the rally. 30 or 40,000 people went to that rally into that stadium. It looked fantastic. Snowing still as well. It's cold over there, boys, at the minute. I can speak for that in terms of experience. But Drake may be ready to go. And like, I just think it's just such old school but still new school mind games from Vrabel and from Kraft, and they're just wrapping them up in cotton wool. And why wouldn't you? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, why wouldn't they? I mean, I was landing in the plane yesterday, being like, it must be crazy coming in as a player. Like, you've played in San Francisco, you know, like, again, we're blessed to be here. Like, I was kind of thinking about the week to week of it all. Like, it's just so crazy that NFL teams travel so much, and like landing into San Francisco is an experience in itself. You see the Golden Gate Bridge, you see Alcatraz as you come down. And that's like Jay Hayes over here, who was looking out the window, just water the whole time. You did not get the views that I got. But yeah, coming in, it's like today, you're like, they're just individuals, right? I know this is getting like, they're just individuals. And it's like, if that's you or me, like, I haven't podcasted since last week. Like, this is what they do. This is what they do. And it's like, I don't think it's going to be any worse off for it. Like,
I love it. I love the move from them, and I love how settled they seem. And how
it's experience.
It's experience. It's experience from the franchise, but so many of these guys haven't been to that point. And it's admirable to see so far.
But that's worth something, because like most teams, when they go into a Super Bowl, the players shouldn't have been there before. It's just that the Chiefs have, you know, been so there the whole time. But it's like, having that experience is monster, because the Seattle Seahawks don't have a staff that they've gone to the Super Bowl, whereas the likes of Vrabel are absolute pros in doing this week.
If we make some broad statements right here, right now, Jason, we'll start with you, my friend. The winning of this game, Super Bowl 60 on Sunday, will be where, what, when, why, how, whatever.
Yeah,
how you doing?
I tried to not go down the most obvious pathways here, I suppose.
Mark has written in big bold, obvious broad statements.
Don't be obvious.
I knew some other people would take the obvious answers. I think the Seattle...
Hold on, are you looking at me there? Like, yeah, he's going to... I think mine's pretty good, but I'll leave it at that.
He's just owned up to it, mate. Because can blame this
I was actually thinking in terms of, like, again, putting the podcast together, and I said in Sunday's podcast, like, we're not going so much into the X and O's, because Irish people love talking about the game. But if you are a casual and you want to go into the bar and, you know, feel part of it, these broad statements, that's what I was thinking, these are the ones that you're able to I can hang my hat on that and not look dumb.
Yeah.
And I do think there will be opportunity that we're going to have a lot of good interviews this week where we will do that. Jeff will go into a lot of it in his live show as well on Friday if he turns up. He might still be in the shower after last year.
It's to slip out little by little that Michael does not have the faith in Jeff Rival.
He's on TV on Sunday night. He better be here. I booked him he's on Hawaiian Airlines. You know, it's like 7 hours to get here from Hawaii. I didn't know this. No, it's like 5. But I was like, what the I don't. Anyway, Jason, go on ahead.
Yeah, look, I think Seattle's deep passing game is going to be an X factor in this one for me. Clint Kubiak and Sam Darnold have been pushing the ball downfield more than any team, or as much as any team in the league. I think they're 6th most in 25-plus yard pass attempts. Play action has been a big part of that, and I'm going to talk a bit about running game in the next topic, so I'll keep this to passing. But I think as impressive as this Patriots secondary has been in the playoffs, and they've made some of those big splash plays, I do think they are capable of giving up a big one every now and then. Christian Gonzalez, terrific player, and he's actually settled a bit because he was going through a slight rough patch during the season there. Yeah. But he's not a shutdown corner right now, and we saw that last week when he got beat deep by Stiddy Ball. I can see Jackson Smith and Jigba pushing one deep. Maybe Cooper Kupp is going to crop up in that regard. How it happens, I don't know, but expect 1 or 2 big, deep play action shots during this game that could ultimately prove to be the difference.
All right. Do you wanna go next?
Yeah, no, mine is very broad, but it's protect Drake May. Like, protecting Drake May, it's leaving the ball in the hands of an MVP. It sounds like runner-up. Maybe Stafford's going to get it,
We'll
but
soon find out anyway.
And this is the whole thing. It's like Drake May, the player. Like, whatever you think about surrounding cast and all this kind of stuff, Drake May, the player, is going to be one of the best players. It's probably, we say, the best individual talent playing in the Super Bowl is Drake May. Are we confident enough in saying that now?
I think that's a fair statement to make. Yeah.
As a quarterback,
Is he the most talented player that's going to be on the field? Are we at that point with Drake May? Is that what
He's
we're saying?
definitely top 2.
JSN, I think, for
Yeah.
me.
Right. Yeah.
Kenneth Walker's unbelievable as well, boys.
That's, well, I mean, yeah.
But I guess with his age and his progression, you could argue yes. Like,
but when it's keep the ball, so you obviously have to protect Drake May and let him go to work, and maybe it's going to be off script or whatever. But that's my favorite play. As I said this, I think the NFC Championship game or AFC Championship game preview. My favorite thing all year has been watching Drake May roll out to the right and make a monster play, and that comes with the protection. Again, we mentioned already, but the O-line, last year's O-line could not do it, but like Gray Zabel has been an outrageous pick this year for them. Like getting the protection to let him go to work has been massive. It's something that they target in the offseason. It is something that now needs to pay dividend for them.
I think one of the biggest storylines for me, like my first Super Bowl in person was a Super Bowl, I want to say 55 or 56 in LA between the Rams and the Bengals. And even if you cut back to before that, whenever Cooper Kupp came into LA for the first time and was this phenom, I actually remember sitting down and drafting him in a fantasy draft, which did not go well that season. That's a different conversation. But, all this expectation, Cooper Kupp's coming in. This guy's going to be a complete, legitimate WR1 for any team. And the career that he has had has been beyond commendable. Obviously, Super Bowl MVP back in 2021 for the Rams at home. Was it 2022, wasn't it? Yeah. He had 2 touchdowns in that game, 92 yards in that game. Not incredible, but obviously, if people remember, OBJ went out in that game early. He took the team in the back in the offense. The biggest storyline for me here is, go and look at the Seahawks depth chart and tell me who the Patriots are not going to focus on for the full 60 minutes. Yes, they're going to cover Cooper Kupp at times. He's had a quiet season, 2 touchdowns in the regular season, 1 touchdown in the postseason. But the storyline behind this, and maybe it's boredom or stupidity on my end, but actually reading into this beforehand, the Rams were encouraging him to retire in the offseason before he went to Seattle. They said, look, we think you've had a good run here, but it might be time to pack it in. And what did he do 2 weeks ago? He went and he scored the game-winning touchdown against the Rams in the NFC Championship. So why can't Cooper Kupp have a day on Sunday? Whenever you've got guys in the offense that are going to be obviously Jack Smith and Jigba is that elite offensive threat for Seattle. But if he's being covered by the Patriots defense, why can't Kupp have a breakout game in this game? In what could be, if Kupp wins the Super Bowl on Sunday, it could be the last game of his career. He's had a superb career. Obviously, a far quieter season. I don't even think he hasn't even hit 1,000 receiving yards this year. But why can't Kupp do it? Because he's been there, he's done it, he's worn the T-shirt, and there's many guys on that Patriots roster in the days of old that have done that when the time has mattered most, whether it was for the Patriots or, frankly, whether it was for the Buccaneers whenever it became the Patriots light. I don't want to say it now, but like Cooper Kupp could be a determining factor in this game on Sunday whenever push comes to shove.
And it wasn't a quiet year for him. Just like the numbers weren't there. Yeah, he played more shadow because he was the kind of a guy that was underneath when you had Jackson Smith and Jigman, obviously Rashid Shaheed going deep. But as a blocker, Cooper Kupp has been massive. Like you see these guys in the slot tail end of their career become blockers, and that's been massive.
That must be frustrating for him.
Oh no, not at all. I'd say play like it's a team game. They're so passive. Like
it says a lot about him.
It's not
he's willing to take on that role at this stage of his career. Being true what he's done, it's a very unselfish act to become that type of player. And there are some players who aren't interested in that.
And then here's a guy again that was being considered retired essentially with the LA Rams. And he was upset last offseason when they clearly didn't want him back. Like, what a full circle moment to do what he did to the Rams. You obviously see, he's meeting up with his buddies and stuff, Buka Naku and stuff afterwards. It must have been such a feeling for them, being like, we're devastated, but it's cool that he got one over on us because he needed to get one over on this team. And like you said, Michael, involvement now in the Super Bowl, and like an integral role in the sense that the blocking and stuff is going to be important. So he mightn't get he's still a threat there, and yak yards and et cetera, et cetera. It's a good point.
It definitely is. We're going to get questions in a few minutes, but we're obviously going to look in terms of developments this season and probably the biggest developments that we have seen with these teams. Jason, you mentioned that you wanted to see something for this part. I was going to talk about the offensive line, but Mark's already touched on it, but I'll go into a bit more, don't worry. Who have you got?
I think the Seattle run game for me is something that's really come on as the season's progressed, and they've made a concerted effort to make sure that happens. They were struggling early in the season against a lot of stacked boxes in the run game. and Darnold was able to thrive because of that, I suppose, through the first half of the season. But as defenses have adjusted, which is also almost coincided entirely with Darnold's dropping production in the second half of the season, Seattle has also adjusted with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, and they've actually, from weeks 10 to 18, Seattle ranks 4th in run game EPA per play, which is just a testament to how strong that's actually become. We saw JSN and how much he was utilised early in the season. I'm sure Mike McDonald will have recognised the fact that they were becoming maybe over-reliant on that one threat, and he made it imperative that they establish this run game. And it's a young offensive line. Mark talked on the previous podcast about the assembly of in-house built offensive line through draft picks throughout the years. It is young, but they're showing signs of development as the year has gone on. Whether that's picking up assignments or zone running schemes, they've just looked like a more cohesive unit as the year's gone on, and it's allowed Walker and Charbonnet to combine for over 2.1 thousand scrimmage yards since week 10. I think Kenneth Walker, we have no concerns about him and what he's going to do on Sunday, but Charbonnet being missing, I am interested to see how that role is going to be picked up. George Helani.
I think if Kenneth Walker was to be injured early on in this game, I think it completely changes the game. Completely.
George Helani is the next guy up. 70 yards on the entire season, and he only had 3 carries in the championship game for 4 yards against the Rams.
These are the games where these guys can come out and make their moment.
But Charbonnet, since he went down, Kenneth Walker has literally just taken on all the snaps.
Yeah.
So there's an insane reliance on a running back, and he's been productive. But I actually think that is they've hung their hat on Kenneth Walker. If he were to go down, which a running back can, that would completely change the game, because the offense isn't the same then.
Enter Samuel Darnold. The pressure on him goes up and up and up at that point. Jeez, I hope it doesn't happen. It can't happen on Sunday. Who have you got for the development?
John, I suppose I've mentioned all the points that we'll get into more. I think in terms of development from the Seattle Seahawks passing game, they went, and this is something I'll talk about later on in the week as well, so I'm sorry that I'm going to double up, but they were very sure of what they wanted. They were willing to get rid of DK Metcalf. Then they realised that they needed his speed, so went out and got Sheed at the trade deadline. Like I'm after saying there with Cooper Kupp, they needed somebody underneath to make the blocks. JSN is uncoverable, and he's so good. He's winning all over the field. They put him out wide, and then you can't bracket him, and he's still come down. He is completely untouchable. But then to complement the way that they have, and then Sam Darnold moving on from a Geno Smith to go with it was all done to perfection. And it was very intentional, is the wording that I'll use. Very intentional, and it's worked obviously so well. And it's obviously the defense come on massively, but when they're talking about the running game and stuff like that, it's all balanced itself out so well.
We'll try and give more time to questions here, but just to touch on my development as well, really that offensive line. And it's funny because obviously 4-13 season last year, the worst offensive line in football, and I guess anything's going to make yourself better. But when you focus on it and when you look at where this offensive line has been from here to now, it's not a legitimate storyline to talk about how improved they've been to an extent, because they're still, as of right here, right now, they're the sixth worst in the league in pressure rate. They're the seventh worst in the league in sack rate, and May has been sacked 47 times this season. But whenever you bring in Will Campbell from LSU, and a guy that completely bleeds what he does, he's been a huge factor as well. And you bring in Morgan Moses, which was a real risk at the age of 34 in a free agent signing. He's over 1,000 snaps this season, the highest of his career. They have been able to make and take risks. Obviously, Mike Onwuelu there as well. This stability at offensive line has elevated them a little bit. They're not anywhere near the highest level, but obviously going back to your point as well, Mark, in terms of protecting Drake May, but they've got better, and obviously Vrabel and this Patriots team have found a way year on year to improve this team and really take them from the doldrums.
That's a stunning stat you're after getting. Drake May was sacked, because he obviously had the half season, but 34 times last year, 47
times this year, and
that is with a good O line. That's way harder than I expected.
And the O line is not, it's not top 10 in the league. So that's as good as they have been and as good as they have improved year on year. They're still not at that elite level, and that's something that they'll obviously
that's close to 3 sacks a game.
Yeah, but that's something that they'll look at heavily, obviously, when they've got such a huge cap space this season. And it goes back to what we said in Sunday's podcast. If they can win this Super Bowl with this offensive line and this team that they have here now, sky's the limit for this
I think
team.
we
These
might be
guys
getting a
will
friend
stay.
over here.
They've got a lot of young guys, but to meet. I had the chance to chat to Will Campbell in Green Bay at the draft on the red carpet. Just a lovely guy. He did not care where he was going to be drafted. He wanted to play football. And he's been so impressive for this team this year. And he has, another 3-4 years left on a rookie deal. And he now plays in a Super Bowl this year. And I felt for him because he was at an LSU team that couldn't get over the line with Brian Kelly. He was never at that upper echelon of getting to a national championship game. And now he has a hell of a chance on Sunday to win a ring.
I think that is one area to look out for on the pitch on Sunday, that blindside blocking for Drake May, because it has been an issue at times in the playoffs, as much as it's improved. And May is prone to fumbling as well. It's not just the sacks; it's those blindside hits that you aren't expecting. That's where turnovers happen. So no doubt they'll have a plan in place to how to cope with the likes of Lawrence for the Seahawks.
If you've enjoyed our analysis so far, you can check out the odds at SBK. The link is in the bio. Obviously, 18 plus PFI Gamble, where some fantastic odds ahead of Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. We're going to take some of your questions in a wee second. All right, final part of this podcast. Obviously, we're a lot of non-live content this week, but we want people to feel as part of this as possible. Questions every day or as many days as we can get, and we're going to try and rattle through a few here. The first question we have here is from Tig. It's not Tig Leader, it's Tig and Kildare. Shout out to Tig as well if he's watching. But Tig and Kildare says, lads, thoughts on the Vikings firing GM Kwesi? Just under a week after Darnold and the Seahawks win the NFC Championship. There's a lot of talk of a lot of conflict in that building. The cycle is weird. It's just a strange timing for it, isn't it?
It is the timing. That's the one thing I'd say. I think there's justified reason for it. The step backwards they've taken this past season. And I think Darnold, maybe that's playing a factor. Maybe an owner who's not happy to see what they've let go. But very strange timing so many weeks after the season. And they've lost a month of prep time for the next season now by delaying the move. So that's the thing that stands out to me. I'll be interested to see who they're targeting because some guys that maybe potentially would have been available now no longer will be available. Cunningham, for example, for the Bears, he's gone to Atlanta. The market is thinner because of the timing. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I'm seeing.
I fully agree with Jason saying the timing's strange, Mark, isn't it? I don't understand.
Yeah, knee-jerk reaction. We had him in the building with obviously an indictment on JJ McCarthy.
He was at the Senior Bowl for 3 days, standing, watching guys that they're going to draft. The timing that is strange. The middle of the Senior Bowl before the game was even taking place.
But when it comes to Sam Darnold, we've kind of touched on this in the podcast already. But it's there was a narrative surrounding Sam Darnold, and you have a GM, John Snyder, and a head coach with Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak that were able to see past narrative and just went on gameplay and obviously saw the ability there. It's embarrassing across the league. And we all fell for it. It was the narrative of last offseason was the Seattle Seahawks are going from a very mediocre. It's not a good look for the Minnesota Vikings.
Thanks, Ty, for your question, boss.
But again, he's also moved on from Carolina, from the Jets, from Minnesota. San Francisco didn't keep him in the building either. He only played a Week 18, nothing game. So it's plenty of. That's what makes the Sam Darnold of it all so interesting. But
strange.
Defi Mensa has definitely been kind of caught off. But he's the one of all those teams. He's the one that's getting banged for it.
We wish him well in the future, and thanks, Ty. Colin in Galway, who's your early shout? Thanks, Colin, for your Super Bowl MVP. I'll jump in here. I think we're going to have, for the first time in a while, a defensive MVP. And I don't want to give my pick away for the Super Bowl, so I'll say no more on that. But I think we're going to see a dominant defensive performance on Sunday. Good
question. We are actually going to, in our team-specific podcast, do the non-quarterback MVP for each team. So we have it well prepped. So I suppose, let's not give it away. Let's tune in Tuesday and Wednesday's podcast.
I've just seen a Cybertruck and a Waymo. Is it
Waymo. It's a
Cybertruck and Waymo
drive itself
side by side. That's San Francisco right there.
Justin in Dublin. If this is who I think it is, I just want to give him a shout out here. Justin gave me an authentic replica of the 1997 game program for the American Bowl at Croke Park last week. So thank you very, very much.
Where did he pull that from? Amazing.
I don't know where the hell he got it, but Justin, thanks very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll send my address now, Justin. Thank you.
What do you? I do want one now. What do you think of the Pat's choice, lads, of all white uniforms for the game so far in Super Bowls? The team in white, 37 wins versus 22 wins for the color jersey. If anyone's, do you know
the color matchups?
Connell Diggin is colorblind. I didn't notice it last week.
Okay,
there you go.
I
fun
think
fact.
Super Bowl matchups are more to do with the strength of the teams that were able to get back to the Super Bowl versus anything else. I thought it played.
Pats love that white jersey.
I
on the
thought
Super
it
Bowl.
played an impact definitely for the snow game. That was outrageous that you couldn't see. And then the Broncos are in this bright orange that was so able to stand out and they couldn't see their opponent. I think it made sense in the snow, but I don't. I don't
Red
lead
would be
into these.
the better colour here as we all get scalded in the California sun.
Thank you for the stat, but I have to say, don't go for those kind of stats. See you, Michael.
I can understand the Patriots in the Patriot way, Jason, that they love that white uniform and it brings back the Brady Belichick era. I fully get why they're picking
Sorry,
the white
do you
uniform.
know, from that point of view, yeah, they're like it's like when Kildare are in the all white. Sometimes wear a green top and a black top, and they're in the all white. You know, it's like Kerry when they're wearing the green top as well. It's like, oh no, we're big day vibes.
I will say, Jason, I think the Seahawks should have wore their throwback jersey.
Oh,
That's
imagine the Super Bowl, that'd be
unbelievable.
bold.
Well, the Niners done it a few years ago. But yeah, I love a Seahawks top as well. I like the matchup, to be honest, the colour matchup, the uniform matchup.
It is a nice matchup.
Tis
Yeah,
by.
It is.
Let's do 2 or 3 more questions and we'll get out of here. Thanks everyone for, and if we haven't got your question in yet, we've all week. We'll keep the form the same. Luke in Kerry, we have talked this, but I do want to get people's questions in. Luke wants to know how important is the run game for both teams in the Super Bowl. We have talked about it a bit here, but in terms of it being crucial, something we'll talk about later on in the week. That Patriots run game, they're not incredible stats, but the fact that they can go in and out with different guys. Tom McConnell and Darla a few moments ago, they had a chance to see an Ohio State running back last year in the national championship. He's playing all right at the minute for the Patriots, isn't he?
I think in terms of the question, I think because Ramondre Stevenson remained the number one guy ahead of Travion Henderson, but I think the Seattle run game is more important because their whole offense operates off what they can do with Kenneth Walker.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think just both run games in general are interesting. Based on the fact that they go with this dual running back approach. Now, Seattle not so much for points, obviously, as we discussed, but having that balance and that change of pace, bringing on the likes of Henderson, is a massive advantage.
For me on Sunday, more running, more yards, more scores, more crack. I'm happy enough. Ron, I think this is Ron from Emerald Eyes Seahawks. I think, shout out to Ron. I think he's in for a big week. I think he wants to be here. I feel bad. Come on, fly over, Ron, for the crack. Given how the conference championships ended for both teams, do we think this will be a close game? That's a big question there, lads. What do we think?
I think it's going to be close. I do.
Do you really? Seriously?
I genuinely do. I think it's overhyped. Not the quality of the Seattle team. I think they're absolutely one of maybe the best team in the NFL. But I think it's overhyped just how big this advantage is. As I mentioned, second-year head coach. A lot of young players who haven't been at this stage before. I think in terms of coaching experience, ownership experience, the Patriots have been around the block so much and they will feel that advantage. They'll know how to handle this. As I said, Josh McDaniels has been to 10 Super Bowls now as a coach. I think he might have learned a lesson or two along the way in terms of how you should approach the build-up.
Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit.
Just a small bit.
No, well said by Jason. What am I going to
All right, well, this is being recorded on Sunday, but we're going to end it in this. Look at me, both of you. The Arizona Cardinals plan to hire... Guess.
LaFleur.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, that's like that is so
We're
bad. We started
always
a
the
bright
bridesmaid.
young
Oh,
offensive
God's sake.
mind whose brother is the coach of the Packers. LaFleur started early in the process.
Hey, as Cardinals fan, Jason and I were talking about this. We're sharing a room this morning. It's fantastic because it's straight in with the Cardinals.
How's that going, by the
We
way?
were saying it is embarrassing that for the third time that they've been in the head coaching hunt, they are the last team once again to get the head coach. You almost had to pay
Fourth,
people.
actually. Bruce Arians was the last pick as well, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
I love the boys.
I'm forgetting Steve Wilkes was in there as well. So
Steve Wilkes, Jesus.
but it's like they cannot get people interested in that job. So LaFleur, I'm glad that they're actually swinging for the fences instead of going for Vance Joseph, who was the defensive coordinator in 2019. It's like he's a fantastic defensive coordinator, but he's not a head coach. But it's just the manner of which they've clearly waited for the Clint Kubiak news from the Raiders. They've been ruled out once again, and now they're like, well, actually, because they weren't putting. I was saying this to Jason. They weren't putting out any of the head coaching interviews. So like every other team is like, we're interviewing him. The Cardinals couldn't do it because so many people were turning them down. So they're kind of putting their hand up, being like, do you know what? Actually, if it's smug, we were able to get LaFleur into the building. Did you know that? It's like, yeah, every other team has employed their head coach, and you've missed out on the opportunity to take offensive and defensive coordinators. They've all been gone. So it's like you're gonna have to go for like quality control guys as their offensive coordinator next year.
Well, at least we got some of the Cardinals talk out of the way this week, and that's us done.
I'm excited for a stat on Thursday's podcast. We're going to be doing the NFL honors, and I've done a stat of. I've broken down kind of like Spotify Wrapped teams that we talked about this year, and I'll say who was the least talked about team and the most talked about team. It was not the Arizona Cardinals.
Have you went through AI or something like that, or what?
No, I keep a track every. Now I missed weeks 18 and 19.
Because you were at the gap weekend.
Because around Christmas I had stuff on or whatever, so I missed those stats. But no, that's coming on Thursday.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to come this week. We've podcasts every day. We've also going to have interviews, which are going to go out separately as well. Loads of stuff. I think I'm going to be talking to Phoebe as well for the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. Dara and Connell are in town. There's a lot of college stuff going on as well. We'll try and get Connor and Jacob to interview somebody from the NFL and not PH Boniak. That's going to go out on Saturday, and props them. And thanks them for doing that every Monday this season. We really appreciate it. But for now, keep the questions coming in.
Do you know what I'll do just as we wrap up? Will I turn the podcast and show this going?
No, you're grand. No, the camera could go. Say no.
I kind of want to show. It's just
we're literally looking at downtime. We'll take a picture. We'll put it on social media. Here, thank you, because we wouldn't be here without you. As big thanks to SBK. We'll see you tomorrow. We got open a night tonight. I can't wait to see Guillermo again from Jimmy Kimmel.
Do you know Guillermo Guillermo pushes through.
He's annoying.
He pushes through. He's not the same Guillermo as you see on TV. He comes with us. Sorry, that's what yeah, he's a bit mean. Like he skipped me one year, and I was like,
boy, what do you call him? Monday Night Football. We all gonna do it tonight. Open the nights. Bear with us. I mean, there's neither our time. There's to be content all day Tuesday, and a reminder: Super Bowl 60s on Virgin Media 1, 11 o'clock on Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow.